Example is better than precept. You should all be personal examples, and they will do that. If you do not practice, if you simply post them, they will not be good. Now, this is an interview in Gatesville where Srila Prabhupada describes who a devotee is, and he said, he will be very perfect gentleman, that's all. He could not find any fault with him. So a preacher is also a devotee. So that means he has to be perfect. Perfect means he's following what he's preaching. At the same time, we also have, by being authentic, we also have to understand that we are representing philosophy which is much higher than us. So it is very important that we acknowledge that fact, and we are aware of that. And if we have shortcomings, we can just accept it and also like constantly work on improving ourselves. And I think that will strengthen our authenticity. So now I will pass on.
Thank you so much, Shripriya Mataji. Your point about authenticity really struck a chord with me. Thank you so much for your wonderful explanation. The next key point or key area in magnetic preaching is simple living and high thinking. So, Srila Prabhupada beautifully summarized the essence of spiritual life in 5 words: simple living and high thinking. This profound principle is not about neglecting the world, but about engaging with it wisely, reducing material complexity and increasing spiritual depth. So the slides from 4 till almost until 16 give Shastrical background and references for this philosophy of simple living and high thinking. Mataji, can we quickly go through those slides? If somebody can read, one verse from each slide.
Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender. Simply living means with surrender, letting go of material attachment. Aspire and live for but that's not about.
Thank you so much. So Srila Prabhupada personally embodied this with little more than a suitcase and a trunk of books. He crossed oceans and transformed hearts across the world. He lived humbly, eating simply, sleeping minimally, and remaining completely absorbed in Krishna. This simplicity gave him clarity, compassion, and spiritual potency that attracted millions. Can we go to the slide 16? Srila Prabhupada also envisioned a society where people live close to nature and close to God, growing their own food, protecting cows, and centering their lives around bhakti. In his words, agriculture and cow protection are the way to become happy. And this was not a romantic ideal, but he established real models like New Vrindavan and Gita Nagari, where Krishna consciousness was lived through soil, service, and sadhana. So Srila Prabhupada, as the quote is very famous, he would say that if you have a piece of land and a cow, you can live simply. So the idea behind simple living is that we save as much time as possible from our material pursuits and devote that time for actually cultivating Krishna consciousness and devoting our time for the ultimate goal of life. Today we see that this vision of simple living and high thinking thriving across the world through these farm communities. In New Rajasthan, Hungary, devotees live all within, practicing full sustainability with full devotion. In Gita Nagari, cows are loved, not exploited. Food is sacred, not commercialized. And at Govardhani village, under the guidance of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, environmental innovation blends seamlessly with the ancient Vedic wisdom, offering a global model for eco-spiritual living. So as a community, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur promoted city temples, but also I feel these city temples have to be supported by such farm communities where devotees ultimately come together to build such communities which promote simple living and Krishna, simple living and high thinking through Krishna conscious philosophy. So I also have, there are some scientific studies. Can you go to those slides? So currently, in United States as well as all over the world also, there is a concept of slow living. Whatever the scriptures and the teachings of Srila Prabhupada about simple living and high thinking, it is becoming very popular and famous. So not just devotees, but among mainstream, the mainstream society also, the concept of simple living is and high thinking is also becoming very popular. So these are some of the scientific studies about this concept. Next, yeah. Next. These are some of the studies by ISKCON Lotus. I couldn't attach the link, but you can definitely search. Next slide. I will hand it over to Sushma Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Let's move to our next topic, that is mechanical preaching. Before proceeding to this topic, let us understand what you mean by preaching. Right? The preaching does not mean to show how much how much I am knowing Shastra or my knowledge, but it's to show how much I care for you. Here, the preacher need to be very vigilant while preaching. Here, I have enlisted the three detrimental effects of mechanical preaching. First is the dominance over audience. Here, the speaker or a preacher don't bother about the level or speed of understanding of the audience, but he deliver the shastra. Here, the people or the audience cannot connect with the preacher. And second is that loss of inspiration. As the preacher does not care about the faith and level of understanding, so there is a no emotion connection of the audience with the preacher, and which is consequently the next is like reduce understanding, because if there is a no emotion connection, so there is a no deeper understanding of the shastra, because the shastra is absolute truth, but because of a lack of emotion or lack of emotional connectivity with the preacher, the understanding is poor. So here, basically, the preaching is like preaching should not only resonate the mind but also the heart. Right? Next. Okay. So here I will be sharing some personal life experience. In India, when I was rendering service, my Shiksha Guru um, just hand over me one seva of a cultivator to cultivate the newcomers, especially the Mataji. So I used to cultivate them, where I have cultivated a few groups of Mataji, and I found just friendly relations with them, and eventually we start chanting together one round, and then we end up with reading Srila Prabhupada book for once in a week. And later on Ekadashi, we used to recite Gita Shlok, and our bonding was so strong that they also came into the Krishna consciousness. And now the position is that they are arranging or they act as a cultivator for the Chetna programs, and also they are like chanting 16 rounds, and they are in a mentor-mentee system. So it is like a good example where the emotional friendly relation with the each other can induce the natural inclination of the soul towards the Krishna consciousness, basically. And next another example is like in basically I am a pharmacist working as a quality assurance officer in India. So I used to invite my colleagues in every programs or every events like for Janmashtami, Radhashtami. I used to invite them. So my one colleague, he visited our temple, but due to some mismanagement or miscommunication, there was some tussle between him and devotee. And at that time, he took a vow that I will not enter to your temple. So from that, from these two examples, what we conclude is that preaching means like to provide a good spiritual experience to the living soul. Like once they had a good spiritual experience, they will naturally or automatically incline to the Krishna consciousness. Yes, and yes, in Gita, Lord has given a different level according to the our faith and understanding. First is like Lord says that Sadatam Kirtanyantoma used to chant the holy name, remember Krishna 24 hours. If you can't do that, at least do sadhana bhakti. If sadhana bhakti is not feasible, at least render some services, physical services, like contribution to the temple or doing some vegetable cutting or and so on. If not, then render service to the soul, to the humanity. Okay? So even from this we can think one lesson, like as a preacher we should deliver shastra to each and every according to their level and field. Otherwise it will be like delivering the 10th standard syllabus to junior KG kid. So it will be like huge blunder. So we should be sensitive enough to while preaching. Yes, so that's it from my side. The further slides will be explained by Riya Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushma Mataji. So now we look at the topic of preaching through culture. So let's see what are some cultural aspects in ISKCON which can attract individuals to our society. So there are three things which we will be discussing. First is cleanliness, second is hospitality, and third one is Vaishnava behavior. So when it comes to cleanliness, Srila Prabhupada mentions that cleanliness doesn't just mean externally keeping things clean, but also it is very important to keep our internals clean through the process of chanting and purity of actions and thoughts. And when it comes to external cleansing, we should be always wear clean clothes and our surroundings should be clean. So such things, definitely nobody wants to be in an environment which is contaminated or dirty. And especially when somebody comes to a temple, it's very important that the temple should be clean so that people get attracted to such a place where they can, keep on coming. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj quotes this very nice, and initially I found it kind of extreme, but it's true that if we're not clean, we're not Krishna conscious. That is what Maharaj says. So another thing which Maharaj says is that we should preach all the time, and if required, we should also speak. So the cultural aspect of preaching is through these points that we're discussing. The second point is hospitality. We remember in the life of Srila Prabhupada himself, when he came to the US, he was serving everyone. He was serving the newcomers. He was not just cooking for them, he was cooking lavish prasadam for them. So he was very much inclusive of everyone. And in the end, people, of course, they do remember what we spoke to them, but more than that, in the long run, they remember how we made them. The hospitality aspect comes here. And community grows in circles and not in rows. So whenever we have people come over for, say, DY sessions or JUSD sessions, then at the time when we're sitting with them, it inspires them to take up or come again to the society. And lastly, Western behavior like tolerance, humility, and all these So these are some of the Vaishnava behavior and qualities which will naturally attract people. And Srila Prabhupada himself embodied these. So I will hand over to Ranga Mataji. Thank you.
So we may be talking a lot, but without Achar, the Prachar cannot be powerful. We definitely would have experienced it. If not, we have to experience it because otherwise we might make a blunder like how Sushma Mataji had already explained. So Srila Prabhupada and all our Acharyas really brought the transformation because they all followed, and through their Acharana we were able to understand, because Bhagavad Gita was translated even before Srila Prabhupada translated it, but how many people got transformed? But when Prabhupada translated and he started Prachar, the whole world started getting transformed. So these are examples through which we can do the Achar and follow, then do the Prachar. And there are a lot of famous speakers in this modern world, in a lot of TV shows, a lot of people come and speak about Srimad Bhagavatam, a lot of attractiveness is there in their speech, but how much of transformation is there? It's very important that even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, right, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that it is like a whole pot of milk which is touched by the lips of the snake, right? It's so poisonous. They are not connected to the Guru Parampara, the bona fide, authentic Guru Parampara. So it's very important that the preachers are connected to the Guru Parampara, and through their guidance and vision, they are taking forward for preaching.
Okay, on the smooth that way.
That's true.
Okay.
So there are many quotes, and also the parents are interested in their kids to follow the Krishna consciousness. They want the kids to know everything. They want the kids to do the japa. But a lot of parents, they don't follow. So unless we practice some examples, then unless we practice, we cannot give good example for the others. And And another important point is, there are some examples that are important. Only when we are deeply rooted, one is able to give the nourishment to others. That we've seen this example, right? When we pour the water to the root, not to the leaf and the trunk and the branch, everything, right? So it's important that we fill our hearts with the bhakti from the Guru and Bhagavatas, so that we are able to distribute it. Bhakti comes from heart to heart. It's not something that we generate, and it's not something, a commodity that we can buy. So it's very important that we get sadhu sangha and get the devotees association, Guru's mercy, get connected to the authentic Guru and then get their mercy and then passed on to others. So first is to listen and then preach, like how Priya Mataji said. It's important that we follow the culture to and then preaching through the personal transformation. Unless there's a personal transformation, we cannot get that forward. So purity is the force. It's a very important point that the more and more we strive to become pure and very devotee, the more and more we can notice that there is transformation from the preaching that we do. So it's very, very important that we follow what we preach. Because when we preach first, it is a reminder for ourselves, and then it's the transformation comes from the others. So as preachers, it's important that we do not go for preaching with high expectations. We have to completely depend on Guru and Gauranga to make the transformation happen, because it's not in our hands. Because a lot of times as preacher, we end up having high expectations, then we get disappointed and we may stop preaching or we may not continue. That is very disastrous, because preaching is our duty. Prabhupada has given us this. It's a very important duty, because we are representing Srila Prabhupada's mission. So it's important that each one of us do preaching to whatever level that we are able to. We are not big speakers, but whatever level, whatever we do, whatever we are practicing, when we are explaining to the other person, when it through our realizations and heart transformations, it definitely connects to their heart. That's where the real transformation comes in. Thank you for for this opportunity and giving this chance for us to share realizations. Thank you. Thank you.
Nobody's gonna ask questions.
I just wanted to add one point, which might have been already presented, but when a new soul comes to Krishna consciousness and when they see a genuine care for their overall well-being, physical, mental, spiritual. So when they see that from the leadership as well as from the whole community, then they really get attracted to Krishna consciousness, and also then they are able to commit for lifelong. And also, preacher also, I mean, I'm saying from my personal experiences, that preacher also have to certainly exhibit a level of maturity to really also not make any mistakes along the way while we are cultivating any soul, so that we don't end up doing this service instead of doing the actual genuine service for the betterment of that soul. Hare Krishna.
Other bad mission.
Right. Also, this question is regarding the point simple living. So, Since most of our preaching is going to happen in the cities, how do we apply this principle of simple living high thinking in the cities? How do we demonstrate that?
In the cities, definitely even in the city scenario, uh, again, I have to first follow this principle of following that principle myself, then I can share. But I'm sharing from my experiences. Simple living is also not just not accumulating a lot of material possessions, but orchestrating our life in such a way in city life is that we have maximum amount of time for Krishna consciousness and our overall well-being. So, sorry, that's my opinion.
What you said about our food, right? You always preach, and whenever it needed, then speak. Like that, being in a city life, it is inevitable that we move along the crowd to look alike like them, but without accumulations. In that way, they don't feel as we are odd man out. If they feel we are odd man out, then it is going to be pretty difficult to really connect and go along with them. And a lot of us are people who are working, so we have offices, we have an office attire. That doesn't mean like you have 50 pairs of shoes and this much of this big of a bungalow, which is not used in Krishna consciousness, right? So it is important that everything that we buy or we get is it helpful in Krishna conscious services. If we are able to justify that purely without any ulterior motive, that's when we can exhibit being in city, exhibit simple living and high thinking. High thinking, of course, through the sadhana practices also. We are able to get the high thinking, but the simple living comes within us. We should cultivate that simple living thought process. Then only we can implement it in the city life, because it's very difficult otherwise to follow.
And simple living is not, I think, not just definitely that is a very important step, because Chaitanya Charan Prabhu once said in one of his classes that things that we own, they own our time. So we have to really make a conscious effort, as Mataji said, that not to have so many material accumulations, because our time goes in maintaining them instead of actually cultivating Krishna consciousness. So there has to be a deliberate effort to lead a really simple life and have our necessities only bare minimum necessities to keep soul and body together, and not get carried away by the material consumption so much, and adopt this lifestyle of slow living. Even being in the city, we have to do our study and figure out a way for our family setting how we can lead our life with this concept. And I feel simplicity doesn't mean just simplicity in our external material life, but also simplicity of heart. Because Srila Prabhupada also said that Krishna consciousness is so simple that you will miss it. So, in this modern life, with the advancement of technology and social media, the complexity is not just about the external material life; it is also about our hearts and our mindset. So that also we have to declutter our lives externally by the practice of less is more, by the philosophy of less is more, that accumulating as much less as possible, and internally through the practice of Krishna consciousness. And when Marika is laughing because he knows that I don't follow this practice. So I'm saying that's why I said I'm saying from my experience, because when you accumulate so much, your time goes in maintaining those things. So it's really very important to minimize our things.
In rural area, like how getting how people
Yes, yes, what Maharaj, what his Swami Maharaj has demonstrated, and other other farm communities also. Those are like model communities where this principle can be practiced. So even when you are living in the city, it is possible to have such communities nearby, and devotees can live there and then preach in the cities, or even when we live in the cities, it's possible by following all these principles. So, yes. And agrotourism, as Prabhuji was saying, agrotourism, sustainable living, these are some of the practices through which we can practice simplicity. Minimalism, yes, as I said, this is more like, there is also not just among devotees, amongst working professionals also, there is a movement that to retire before 30. So when the career even doesn't even begin before 30, there are many working professionals who organize their lives in such a way, especially their careers in such a way that they retire before 30. So devotees can, I mean, look into these movements and adopt some of the philosophies and strategies. Hari.
So this our discussion started that we should be taking things are not taught there for a reason, right? We should be exempted. So my question is that sometimes we speak which is behind our adhikaris. So it's such a situation how we can deal with those. We want to convey at that point, at that context, but we think that oh, this is beyond the adhikar. And practicing the few things, not 100%. So to be very good at practice 100% in over everything, but how we can convey the things not beyond the adhikar.
I heard from Ramchandra sharing that it is important to like always take a higher principle and never compromise on that. Because if you do not, because anyways people will, or like anyone, like people will follow however much they can. So if you do not state the highest principle or whatever is mentioned in Shastra, so that is not good. And also like if we do that, then there can be a downfall. At the same time, I believe that even like accepting it that okay, this this is the, I mean, this is the standard, but okay, today I'm not here. But and just being honest about it, even while we are preaching, maybe like we can say, okay, I am preaching this, like if we are preaching to like group of people, that we can be just honest. I believe that okay, this is something I'm saying, but not that I follow it 100 like perfectly, and I'm like trying to follow it. So just being honest, and I think that also attracts people that okay, these people are just not saying hi-fi philosophy, because I mean everybody understands okay they are saying, but this is such a difficult principle or whatever, so they might not be practicing it completely in their lifestyle, but just accepting it and honestly acknowledging that fact. So I think that also attracts people. Okay, that they are real, that they are honest.
I agree with Mataji, because as you also said in your presentation, authenticity. Many times people also get moved by the authenticity, although we might not be at that standard, what is expected. But ultimately, we endeavor to come to that standard, and but at the same time, not be fake, not try to present that what we are not, but at the same time, let people we are preaching to let them know what is the highest standard, what is expected, and yeah, guiding them accordingly. Prior to lunch, the question was asked, taken up in his time, that he was, I think it was, that I'm not sure how can I go for distribution or teaching, right? So same principle for me. So we are representing the mission. So whatever we have realized, we share. Whatever we have not realized, like how a parrot repeats, we are repeating the message from our acharyas as it is, and we can convey, like Mataji said, we are also trying in these aspects, but we are trying to share what we have heard and what we have realized. In that way, there is no false message going on. I think we cannot wait until we get purified, because the process itself is a method for preachers also to get purified. So preaching itself is not only for it's not like we are preaching only to others. It's mainly for us. So while we are preaching, we also get purified. So I will not share the detail, but I was going to share something with someone, but then I realized I myself I don't follow them. So I said, okay, first I will come to that stage and then I will tell that person, okay, you need to do such and such thing. So that my point is like when we preach, we also get benefited by that, and also we cannot wait uh, until we get completely purified. So we have to, as Mataji said, because we are not preaching, we are just repeating the message of previous Acharya. So we are like parrots. So we just have to depend on the mercy of Guru and Krishna and repeat the message. Questions?
One last question. Thank you very much for the beautiful introduction. Making this magnetic culture of teaching and teaching. So we often hear that a happy devotee is the best teacher. So how to become a happy devotee? Yeah. Share some tips.
It is said that we are the parts and parcel of the Lord. Also, Jiva Loki, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So we are the part and parcel of the Lord. So Lord is full of Sachidanand, bliss. If we are connected to Him, then our constitution position is like Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nityananda. So if we are connected to the Krishna, then we are happy. And the next question is how we can connect to Krishna. We can connect by engaging our intelligence, by reading the Shastra, and engaging our mind by chanting the holy name. And by doing this too, we are naturally we are in the happy state, and that such devotees can preach. Yeah, that's it.
That was like a lion on the chase. One of the points of it. The one which was saying that in how we since we are just how we are living in urban things and we are trying to teach the principle of assimilating the worldly examples. You know, there is a dire need right now in the entire world to have this example. So why not show this by our living? Even in the case you can do that. It's possible. So that's why we have to set an example by being by following them. And even while you like whatever whether you are in person life or you can actually model that. So that's one big thing, very important thing. Because world needs example. That's why we should set it. The second thing was which I was saying, talking about as you were saying that why the in the rural place we should have this. Because here there is a tendency to go get away. They want to get away from other complexities, the worldly complexity. The family all attentions, the problems of the professional problems, all that from that they will get away. And so they want to go to the nature. That's what they need. And people are doing it. They pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. How many cars we have seen? Thousands and thousands of cars. 1 week there was like $500,000 just for this one. You can imagine that that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is it a farm? It's $500,000. You can imagine how much money we need. This is just actually this is how much. So another people is like they're getting a farm of it. All the students when they come in, what they will see and they will attract it. What is beautiful, they love it. And also, we also have to know that the nature's law. And when you live in nature, and then at least first you get away with it, you become more sharp, you become calm and confused, and your body actually settles down. It's very much important. That's why we should give this example. This is one of the reasons why we should have like one of the farm committee, that's, and I forgot the third one, which is, how would the happy,
Everybody want to be happy to look at Mama.
Yes. How do
I used to be one of these sumo hats, at least 400 pounds, two for the laptop, two for. But still always smiling. How he does it, I think job and he manages a temple, how he preaches and that's a big hearted person, very amazing person. Yeah. You are a good example.
No, I can see this is, so we should learn the art of the contentment. Because what happens is that in the pursuit of worldly, worldly things, there's no, we go, and, off board, we sometimes actually get carried away. That's why learn this art of contentment. Like, as you were talking, even as sometimes, this is where we have to teach them, like this. If you are not content with it, what happens that we will get distracted by this, we will get attracted to those things. That's why there has to be content within us for anything. For instance, any matter, if somebody has an art, we feel that, oh my god, I should have worked for that, I should have got it. So we feel that. So that's why we should have inner satisfaction. That I am in my Krishna consciousness practice. I am well situated and I am happy. When you are in the happy state, then nothing will get distracted. They will feel that my God, in all circumstances, I am very happy. And that's one of the best examples. Otherwise, you see that, if somebody has a house, you feel that, oh, Ashwin should have a house. And Ashwin work very hard. And that's why then you work like crazy, like now, and then you work spin on and you become mad and crazy. So this is what I'm saying. So we have to be content in that and show by example. This is what it is. That's what is Krishna consciousness. And I was saying that the whole way should be in that. Not like now says where
One more point. The secret for the
one
comes from the Mangalarati. That's the secret. Yes. I also thank you, Prabhu and Mataji, for sharing all of these wonderful realizations. For being happy, I also feel that whatever interpersonal relationships we have, so with devotees, with family members, so if there is any bitterness, so because Krishna consciousness is about doubting, so if our relationships are not good, so that gets affected in the state of our consciousness and state of our happiness also. So the relationships and as Prabhu said, dissatisfaction. If you have dissatisfaction about our own life, so all of that gets reflected in the state of our happiness. So I feel it is very crucial that emotionally we need to be in a very healthy state. So because people are very smart, they are able to detect. So if you are faking it, they can detect. So it is very important to cultivate emotional well-being and do everything possible, and also have healthy relationships. So if we don't have healthy relationships with devotees or family members, and if we are not being nice to them, so that gets reflected in our preaching and we are not successful. No matter how polished presentation we have, how nicely we are trying to present, but if our core relationships are not healthy and wholesome, that will affect and will not lead to successful teaching. And also that reflects the state of happiness. So emotional well-being is for devotees is also just like physical well-being, emotional well-being is also very important.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
I'm just putting up the points over here. We can read this one, please. You can come inside and get it. Hey, what about the connection? Okay, we're gonna get that. One of us can read it from the group. Take that. That's why they take the mic on. Cardless. They give you cardless. planting.
Neatly made slides with appropriate quotes from Shloka said of the pictures. Well researched information on the topic and good practical examples. It would be great if the group could say things more specific to college students.
Because we are right now youth, both boys and girls, we all are very cultivate girls. This topic will be more focused manner for about if you are a preacher to girls, what type of example you say to the girls. In South Korea, in one school, one teacher was making out the scolding to some girls in her class. Little girls, they are little girls. She said that you should not come with lipstick and nail polish or something like that, she said. And you should not dress very gorgeously. But that girl told her that day, look at the teacher, she is wearing lipstick. She is wearing nail polish and she is dressing very gorgeously. Then the other girl, she asked her, she said, Madam, when can I be dressed like you? Yeah. So the point is, when we are preachers to boys, or we are similar preachers to the girls, not in the preaching to girls, more things are caught than taught. They watch how we dress, how we speak, how we live our life, everything. So, if they find that two girls preachers, they will be envy for each other. Correct? One man is preaching, she has dozen girls. Another man is preaching, she has 3 dozen girls, for example. Some groups are like that, some groups are big, some are small. So then the girls will see, look at the preacher and see how is she feeling about the other thing. Does she say good about the other or does she say bad about it? She will purposely ask, what is it? She has clear in the body. So she say, oh, she is very intelligent teacher. But I also want to go and learn from the old name to preaching. If you say like that, God will go, oh, I think you must those from the heart. On the other hand, the mother says, oh, you think she has 3 girls? I want to give half of them. She was having no idea because she didn't mind it. So, people see whether one preacher is envious of another. They see that. Another thing people see when now when girls come for your programs and they come to your home, they see how neat and tidy you keep the home, how clean you keep the home, how you deal with the home. They are making clean with their home first level, and they are of the body to be. So more things they will not speak to you, but they will learn by observation. The more things are taught than so these kind of things you all can bring up also because we all want to teach the world. What are things that girls in the girl teacher? Those things are can be taught.
Different aspects of being economically well explained, non-domination, cleanliness, hospitality.
Yeah, imagine.
Since you all are ladies, you can consider the importance of setting an example by putting skills.
Yeah. Sometimes you go to a state that is very popular and so you want.
First skip the book, but we ran over time and we skipped it. So, the management we are learning.
They show you one space. Who do you all understand? Everyone knows it. Yeah.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
देखिए प्रभु, मेरी सहेली जो है ना गीता, वो और उनका पूरा परिवार, वो जा रहे हैं टेम्पल सेंट्रो कार में और हम जा रहे हैं कटारा स्कूटर में।
अरे वो
हम लोग ठीक है, वो गीता को छोड़ और वो शीला को देख, वो रहते हैं एक बड़ा सा इंडिपेंडेंट बंगलो में, कितना फ्रीडम होगा ना। और हम रह रहे हैं एक छोटी सी 2 BHK में, कितना कंजेस्टेड है। और हम सोच भी रहे हैं कि हमारे घर में डीपी इंस्टॉलेशन हो, तो भगवान कैसे आएंगे ऐसे कंजेस्टेड घर में? समझ रहे हैं आप?
सही है, हम भी इतना सेवा में बढ़ा है, बहुत ही अच्छा है। तुम्हारा जो विचार है ना, परफेक्ट है। तो लेकिन बड़ा कर, तो लक्ष्मी देवी का कृपा तो होने दो, लेकिन बड़ा कर यार,
ठीक है, बंगलों को छोड़ेंगे, कम से कम ऑल्टर को देखो। हमारे घर में जो ऑल्टर है ना, वो लकड़ी का है और वो भी 2x2 का। और वो बिरला के घर में देख, उसका ऑल्टर तो 4x6 का है और वो भी मार्बल का। और उनके घर में ऑल्टर के लिए एक सेपरेट रूम है और उनके घर में एक अलग सा गेस्ट रूम भी है। हमारे घर में तो कुछ भी नहीं है।
हाँ, सही है, तो बड़ा है, बड़ा ऑर्डर, मैं छोटा ऑर्डर,
ठीक है बाबा, तो मार्बल का क्या?
भगवान का बात करके तुम्हारे भक्ति के भाव से वो तो भक्ति के भाव से पसंद हो, लकड़ी का ऑर्डर मार्बल का ऑर्डर क्या फर्क होता है? फिर भी तुम कह रही हो तो ले लेते हैं मार्बल का ऑर्डर, अगले महीने आएगा अपना ये दिवाली का बोनस, आने दो, ले लेते हैं मार्बल का ऑर्डर, ठीक है? फिर भी एक बार अगर हम अपनी तुलना दूसरों के साथ करेंगे या हम लोग के साथ करेंगे तो निराश तो जरूर होगी।
सही कह रहे हो।
Is that a drama? So, sometimes when you show this, it is very important.
Talking about points like were great like early morning yoga. Also bad examples like parents not showing good example. Famous but unexemplary speaker or unqualified speakers. Nice things.
But they had a lot of good examples there.
Appropriate qualities quoted. Prayerful, faithful, disciplined, sadhana, faithfulness, personal. Simple living, high thinking, consider question, maximize personal time, avoid being odd man out as we go to office in office attire. Sorry, as we go
It's avoiding being odd man.
things we own our time, etc. were good. A little more explanation would be necessary on Yukta Vedanta.
One very important explanation. When some of the people saw Prabhupada, they moved for us and a lab. Some people in America came and asked, "Mom, how can mom go to the passport was in Sheraton? And this is Swamiji was in Sheraton, voting for. Prabhupada, you can see under this tree, you come. I thought, I don't come. Say, that's right. So now, Prabhupada in Vrindavan, he had a desire to go around Govardhan and Golakot, for example. Because disciples were not very, because they were very old, very fragile body. Actually, the Prabhupada, when they put him into the cart, but they didn't look at the main difference. The Bhagavad Gita is Samaloshrashna, Anchana, said. So, very cosmic car, very, it's a fact actually, you will see in Krishna Lila also. You know, when Krishna went to Mithilapuri, Kulashma's place, palace. So he called all the sages and they were coming behind him, behind his side. Krishna said, "Oh, are you going to walk all the way?" I said to him, my chariot. They said, "You are never used to climbing chariot." Krishna personally gave his hand and put one by one all the sages inside chariot. Then after everybody came to close the door, then he goes not with this Dharma, right chariot. So the sages were shaking when the chariot was going. Krishna was telling them to hold it properly. And then when they reached there, and Krishna took them to Bhavarash's palace. So that they was had both the places they were right now. Both the places, Krishna glorified the Savior. He said this because you both of you devotees are interested in me. But let me tell you, if you serve these devotees, I will do more these things. Something like that Krishna says. So now the sages are not used to possessing costly chariots, golden chariots. But because Krishna accompanied them, Krishna took them, they accepted. Correct. One time I was in Delaware. So one there on the photo thing. I said, "Oh, you are traveling in Tesla car nowadays." I said, "What is Tesla car?" Then he said, "Oh, the door doesn't open normally." He said, "I have used Garuda car." I only thought it's a Garuda. I asked him, "Only open." So I said, "You take me Tesla car or take me an ambassador car, doesn't make any difference. That is the program, right?" So when people see from outside, sometimes they may think, "Oh, this family is very luxurious, a lot of things." But I didn't of that. Guru Dharma Karma, some people are awarded with abundant blessing. For example, when Krishna Chandra Prabhu became devotee in Bombay, Rishi Kumar, he asked Maharaj, should I read this Bhagavad with all my relatives? Or should I get a small house right next to temple and pay for this? Maharaj said, live where you are and live there in your house with all the relatives friends. Because the line between necessity and luxury is not the same for everybody. Like for example, for a man who is like you all know that when you're a kid, you are having a person, right? They went to school, you got a bicycle. When you go to college, you get a bike. So now, with your increasing position, actually you are supposed to dress in a certain way. You are supposed to use certain type of vehicle, certain type of facility, and it is obviously known in this way. So they were making the point in their presentation that if you are CEO of a company and you are aware that you not get this, simple this and go, then people will not respect. Like Prabhupada also told these and so on. So now, he said, I will not have any room. I have this person. So Prabhupada told him, no, you are president, you should have a room. Because sometimes people want to talk conferences with you. You want to talk. If you say, I live in Ashram with everybody. Everybody can meet me in the dark room. Then I will talk to them. So you have to have a room. And also it will increase some dignity, respect for you. The eyes of others and it's necessary for us. For your post and position in this life. The same manner, we also used to have a notion before, Krishna consciousness, that if you are a devotee of God, you should be like Krishna, with tattered clothes and bones visible in your body. You should be protected. Some people say, oh, But Prabhupada criticized why it is not that simply by wearing a Gopi Baba, lion cloth Baba, and Gopi Raman, they are designed to learn and they say. There are people like that. Our world has seen the so-called announced Babas like that. Many of them have tried to be hypocrites also. They eventually the history showed that you will see the papers in make news about what it is. On the other hand, if somebody by dint of your providence, Krishna has given you a lot of wealth, lot of prosperity, midst of that we can live like a lotus, unaffected by teacher. So who live like that? Amrish Maharaj lived. I show you one verse. How we can live like that. Vide Dudare Sute Bandhushu. Vide Dudare Vipottam Vipottamasyam Dhanavadiva. Pachadana Sari.
Maharaj Ambesh, Maharaj Ambesh gave up all attachment to household affairs, wives, children, friends, and relatives. To the best of powerful relatives, to beautiful chariots, cars, horses, and inexhaustible jewels, and to ornaments, garments, and inexhaustible treasure. He gave up attachment to all of them, regarding them as temporary and material.
That's it. Did he give up on good words? He lived in the midst of them. Just like a lotus, he was staying in the midst of Manipura water. So therefore, Amrish Maharaj also like that, Amrish Prabhu is in a way, Yogi Vikas, billionaire buck. Right? Prabhupada gave a proper name. And Prabhupada knows what name. Right? So, in case you have wealth like Amrish Maharaj, you are a king of the world. You don't have to give up saying that I'm going to be the best. So then determine meaning, what is the real meaning of simplicity? No. All princes of Krishna already for one second, they say what it is. So whatever visit that you want to use it in. And you are put by you repeatedly read this in Bhagavatam. Bharat Maharaj, Gaya Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, they all exhausted the merits of their pious act. How many have you read this Bhagavatam? Several times you will read it. They exhausted the merits of their pious activities in the past life. How? By receiving those facilities and amenities. For example, you will see, did he make great effort to get these facilities? At the point where he was thinking, who? See, if a person, cannot purchase a car, for example, you want to purchase a Benz, and he takes a heavy loan of 50 lakhs for buying a Benz car, and you're another 20 years or 23 years, you will keep it back. Should you get a Benz car? For him, Benz car is a on the other hand, somebody is a growth, he has come to the CEO or one of them. For him, Benz car, he is not taking a credit card to buy it. Therefore, one should know that how much opulence is in the midst of your living is not so much important. But how much you are going beyond the line between necessity and luxury, and how are you increasing your angry? That's why I showed you the drama of the lady. Having the husband. Husband was very interesting. He said, small house, small hunter, we can't get that. And the husband was excellent around. Satisfied. He was selling the good content. What was the situation got another interesting purpose? When you are born in this world, there are many things that are destined in the world. Your face cut, did you make your face cut? That was given. Yeah. Similarly, your color of your skin, given. So people have changed with some bad love and things. Can't change much. You are given the circumstance. And also, your parents, you decided that parents. These are all given. This is called destiny. So after getting that, then what are you going to do with it? That's up to you. Like another people born and understand. But they misuse the cases. Right now. Somebody like Amrit Maharaj is born and understand, but he's using this as problem. Right? That is not destiny. It's free. Will always be. So now recently Mukesh Ambani got a grant. He opened his eyes again. Then Amani, Amani, this is grandfather, son Akash Amani, Shloka Amani. Welcome to Daily Boy. With the grace of blessings of Lord Krishna, Shloka and Akash Amani became proud parents of the Daily Boy. But she did the Daily Boy. As soon as he opened his eyes, he was a millionaire. So, the God arranges your birth to the reason that's where you are. So, now imagine if somebody wants to become like, he says, I don't have time to stand on the he will become like right. See, late worker is not going to work hard and become great money. If you find somebody like that, like you find a washing powder demand, but later on, Nirma, when he checked his horoscope, it exactly said that from this point of time, you will not be millionaire. Horoscope itself says that. Even your horoscope will tell you sometimes, horoscope say that up to this year, you have to suffer. After that, you'll be making money. There are people like that. It shows that, it indicates. So destiny exists. Okay, now somebody may ask, how will they know what is in their destiny? Destiny is that which comes by like a bird has to fly from here 1 mile away. And the tree has entrance to the berries. And he cannot see it. Similarly, if a man works for 8 hours a day, a person 8 to 9 hours, whatever he gets is called his. So Prabhupada quoted the example of one Mr. Modi. This Modi, he had, 150 millionaires working at it. 150 million and more than a lakh people working at it. And this fellow doesn't know how to fix it. He's a millionaire. He only have as a. On the other hand, Prabhupada showed in Ahmedabad was a PhD person. He's done PhD, but he was in chemistry. He was not getting a job. So he was making soap and going to bicycle and selling. Prabhupada said, such a highly educated person is considered work like a and good as a man is meeting money. It's not a problem. So one should imagine if this case now one become a more then think about these trying. Many companies are not accepting it, saying you are more qualified. You take it, you be a simple solid companies. So proper important is example. So there are many foods in this world whose long decision hours they think that one day I will become a billionaire and billionaire. That is how they waste their time doing the health. And there are people who have diverse gone. He got a heart attack, massive heart attack because of blood pressure increase. But still, he never became the leader. He may have some money in the market. So that is that kind of hard work which is learned. That is not what is necessary. So we should very clear about this. Yeah. Like one devotee wanted to Ramacharya wanted to President report to Prabhupada. Prabhupada he wanted to go Ayurvedic college and learn and take another Prabhupada college. You don't have to go to Ayurvedic college and learn. If you already have an Ayurvedic degree, you take care of other devotees. No, Prabhupada, I don't have all that. I think not going. Prabhupada said, no, I don't have Ramacharya. Yeah. Whatever talent you have, that you use in Krishna service. If you have money, use that money in Krishna service. You don't have nobody then use that, then use the money. Tell them what you do. Tell them I want very hard, I want that. I want how to calculate, I want to work. Do you think it's going to be? You will try devotee. Because first if you are not a devotee, how will you? Correct, no? So there are, basically he wanted to do his own program. So whatever, how many of you agree that as soon as you go right, some people are below poverty line, some are middle line, some are within. But you see them, and these people have achieved their position by end of being partners at the time. Right, no? You see that. So, in this way, one should know that money is not the only thing that is existing. How much happiness you get out of this? The quantum of happiness, quantum of this. That is it. If you know a different form, you want to say three thousand kilobytes, it is like, but it is on some way. So today the discussions happen. I will show you now. So, not here. Group two now. Basically, it's about giving example of what is out its lifestyle and what is out. This is the first one.
Be what you want to teach. Teachers must avoid the philosophy. People watch how we live more than what we say.
Yeah. Okay, how many of you want the students to be very enthusiastic? That right? You have to be plus yourself. Whatever you want them to be, you be that. But generally what happens, many times in this class, balance, morals, mobility, balance, and very example studies, they want to. The children say, oh, you're going to one father told the child, no, we will go to the you have to take it. The child started crying. He said, see, parents have the program in another. I have a program here, you ask me that. The father said, no, better. Only those who should have father said. And the child said, okay, Papa, you go to the mother sister. Yes, children also intelligent. They will easily understand. So, therefore, people watch how we live more than what we say. People watch and learn more than content. This is one very challenging. So this point also I want to make now. The happiness point. How is happiness point relevant to the theme, the example? He usually has mental development. And collectively, we should have sweet and pleasant meeting with others. Is it always possible? Not possible. Because many times as our right program is stage, finding the base to meet the people that talk, they had mind, sometimes goes in that. Sometimes we didn't get adequate. Many of the students here, sometimes we didn't get adequate. Now, now sometimes your voice will be a calculated only. When you look at your acting, the whole thing. So individually to be happy is not very easy. Many times our health is not taken care. And devotee they will not do because they are transcendent. No, I am spiritual, I am not. So neither no yoga, no walking, late night sleep, early morning waking up because they want to deliver the movement. Correct or not? So then how can health is not good, health is not. And then it comes to eating, and there is no compromise. How do you tell it? Now yoga, no walking. See, if you eat simple and don't do yoga, but if you eat properly, proper preservative, and then you don't do yoga, no one. Proper doctor told it that you should, the old man sitting. No use, he health will not get better unless you walk. Next day, morning, doctor started. Around mind was combined and other two words. Then the spiritual mind. Similarly, daily between all the applying gas, we have common People are out of body. And the doctor will take out properly. Now, that time you will be bleaching also. Some servant who is doing massaging but improper with doctor. Sometimes many letters are dictated along with the fiber. So utilize this time well, but did not neglect it body. So when we talk about happiness, happiness in body means all the take care of the body and take care of the mind also. Mind, the main problem of mind is, the beginning we don't study the scriptures, the beauty, don't get it actually. The mind will start feeling lower emotion, plus and increase. But if you are in touch with Shastra, what is the reason for that? If you are really hearing very nice lectures, full by lecture, full by the study of Bhagavatam, then you identify more with soul and soul related with Krishna. And that is why the bodily consciousness is reduced. So then you don't feel so much affected by us. But when time what happens in the name of Allah, counseling, don't get very good time for reading it. Then that time becomes fun. And then when we are not doing, then we start doing this. Body consciousness. The body consciousness increases the mind. Mind becomes fully very thoughts, and the thoughts, the thoughts, and the context. Then that means you are physically not healthy, mentally not healthy, and the soul also, over a period of time, mentally, body healthy, healthy mind, healthy body. So when the soul can be very healthy, the body is healthy. So therefore, devotees, as devotees, you have to be very attentive to these three thoughts. Right? Then, so people watch how happy you are. If people see that you're cheerful, you're calm, cool, this, then people get a lot of inspiration. Like for example, there is one book called this Hare Krishna Explosion. There's one another book, your monk who does not dance in Maya. That's the book. So that's also what we can. That means in dancing, if you are not enthusiastic, you are not able to lift the body up and down. You are not able to do. That means there is a lot of weight of illusion taking you on the ground. You feel shy, you feel anxious, you are not enthusiastic. When are you able to enthusiastically dance with your character? When you don't care about your body and you think who are you? Stand around of stand around of self. Things like that. So our enthusiasm in your art, japa, class, this will be people will be observing it. People are going to observe how the teacher is. Accordingly, they will. So this is your personal example. Having interpersonal example. See, because we are not whether we are an organization, right? I will be an organization, planning, organizing, coordinating, monitoring, controlling. So organizing means to channel. Like when you have some expectation from mentors, and mentors are not, for example, you are a leader with some people, friends, for the past, a group of mentors working together, differences will come. I don't know. When the differences come due to many things. The money program, lack of attendance, or sometimes method, you should follow this method. Some people think my opinion is best. So a lot of classes, because they are not getting good. So some classes are going to do that. If somebody is slow to do the work, and somebody forgets the work, right? Anyway, classes come back. That is about respect and dignity. Are they giving a respect or not? Are they recognizing the work that is saying? That's one thing. Another thing is care and affection. Am I cared for? Am I shown affection or am I given? That's it. Our who's the realm of that. Who's having power and influence over others. These are the three things for which people are in the person. Anyway, so, mother-in-law has a control on the guardian. amongst mentors also, you can have this clashes. So among the mentors in the clashes, easily seen by the mentees. I think these two things are brought up, but they are very good. It's about personal happiness and very nice and personal. So we can take care of these two things, this would be very powerful. Akshay Kumar, his personal life, early morning he gets up, happiness, goes to Jagannath temple, take part in the Aarti. Right? After that, you will see, you go to the worship and you will chant for 2 minutes. Chant. In the afternoon, he carries prasad to the last supper. It's the as a pre-direction with home. Radha Goswami and others. And then he would go to Kota Gopinath. Here, like 3 hours Bhagavatam class. Sitting with the other party and other people. Then evening, after 5 o'clock, 5 to 6 o'clock, 3 hours of Harinam. With all the devotees. God Prabhupada is done. Here, nothing here. Also, chanting the mind. Our happiness lies in these activities. We will always be having us. See, so much happiness cannot be taken away. Only if you are getting some happiness. So, which means spiritual strength gives you happiness. Arthur very clearly said. Gita models right. I think you said that. It's so very well. These are 2 points. More initiation, right? The soul and God relationship. Because I think that one satisfaction comes by only one should do the people say. Right? So this way when we this is a true happiness it cannot be taken. Everybody should love God. Now, what is that's what we are calling them down capital. Some areas people are far away from temple. And what is your Robert man is done, it's fine in America. He's put dozen families together, like a bunch of families, in the same locality, close to university. Because close to university, many places no temples are there. So he puts temple families, amongst them he makes one of them as like a counselor, leader. And then they all come together for morning time together, prayers also, they do prayers. Some places they even cook together also. They take the same prasad also, some other day. So, why are they creating the Sangha of the devotee? Because without the Sangha, devotee staying in the neighborhood, simply they may get lost. Especially at Vyasa couples. Missionaries, they have the luxury of staying in the temple, the other devotees. So, Vyasa should always stay in like consideration, stars to get it, the ones of group of persons to stay, mama and the daddy. And eventually, they can also start centers in the communities. Like you go to the nearest center. Like Boston Temple can start from 50 centers. One area, one and the one center. There are some other things that come to that. There is a read this one. Artificial effort is other. See, there are 2 ways you can bring more and more things. How? One is be like a magnet and magnet pulls and nails quickly. Or we are not powerful like a magnet, then we have to do too much follow. Follow. Yes. How does it which is painful? Follow. Painful for whom? Work. So then how to become a magnet? So this is one of the things we are talking. Personally, you are very happily situated. This is also to come back home. So you perform your is happy, you are happy, and 100% leaving also appropriate maturity. And dealing with others is appropriate, then we can attract. Read the next one, simple living hygiene. This is something is validated. Feel that? No, right, right, right. Is it? Next one.
Simple living and high thinking makes teaching powerful. Material simplicity gives spiritual weight and credibility.
It's especially talking about attachment to things. It is not just how many of you have seen people who are not that rich, they are little, but they are also mentally very attached to it. Yes, it comes. Go ahead.
People entangled in luxury lose moral authority. When opulence is used in Krishna's service, it becomes luxury and Maya. Luxury is not Krishna centered and entangled one in illusion.
Correct, no? So this is the point. If one has a lot of facilities, the company provides. He's a billionaire, but he's using an Krishna center there. He doesn't entangle it. On the other hand, there are people who are not as rich as him. How many of you think middle class people entangle? How many? Correct, no? You can see that. Because what is the reason for the entanglement? Huh? Middle attachment. Yeah. That is middle attachment entanglement. It's not a question of possessing an artist.
It also showed us the work.
And then palaces.
Whether in palace or
Because it made no difference. Staying in a hut in Mayapur or living in a very lavish city. It's always absorbed in Krishna. That's the way you can read it. This is the really a good sign. It is not the luxury, it is not the luxury that is wrong. Not the luxury. Next one.
Detachment, Krishna-centeredness, and the right usage of wealth is glorified. The preacher must be free from the desire for material gain and honor. Srila Prabhupada, Nectar of Instruction, text 3 purport.
So, there is a gross luxury, there is a subtle luxury. The gross luxury, already you know, Dhanam, Janam, and all those things. You have to detach Krishna centered rightly. But the material desire for puja, la, pratishtha, chokara, vishta, who said that? Material. So, the desire that people should respect me, honor me, take my name on the stage, I'm very important. Sometimes people are not satisfied with their glorified as a good. Sometimes people want the name to be usually that's for distinction. Some people want adoration, some people want distinction. Those are things that so this attachment, this certain things also is very painful. So attachment to gross things is painful, certain things is also painful. Next one.
Aligns with traditional Brahminical standards that command respect.
Yeah. That means the things should be clean, the dress, one should have proper fasting dress, so, and speech should be clean. You see, you'll be shocked now, I'll show you unceremonial words recently in India. I published. Unparliamentary word they call it. See, these words should not be used in any public. See, the Parliament of India has decided to ban a list of words in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What are the words you want, ma'am? See this. You should not use the word like. See this. You will celebration here. Criticizing somebody. You will lie, you cannot say. That you are. The really word. I don't know how many people try to understand that. In Parliament, they were able to use it to create money. Why I'm saying this, why in what connection I told you, land is not only clean dress, also clean speech, or the way we speak, and we should sensitively speak. Next one.
Teachers should be friendly and relatable, not aloof or judgmental. Warmth and accessibility open hearts for transformation. Approach with affection, not arrogance. Srila Prabhupada lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam 7.6.1. Relatability doesn't mean compromising the message, just implement it with love.
Hey, there was one preacher, he got 40 boys per program, device. When he went to that room, and he put on the PPT, and about the PPT, he immediately told everybody, this all the kind of switch off the mobiles. We're going to start talking now. So, then as soon as he began, within 5 minutes, some boys started doing, everyone confused. He became irritated because he got the thing disturbed and fact. They shouted, anybody who's making the noise of the fires, get out. And then 30 people walked up. He said, no, I'm not telling all of you. People should make the sound down. Yeah, I'm telling them. He said, people said, no, the vibes are not good here. In order people go by the vibes. Huh? You see, the way you finding us, we are not feeling like left the hall. People. The very first program, we only got in 3 parties. That's why the preacher is very careful, especially dealing with new people. New people, many of them are very tender hearted. Many of them actually come for some experience, kirtan, prasad, friendship. Most people actually cannot exactly understand personally. How you respectfully deal with them, how you're kind to them. These things are never forgotten by people for both lifers. People will say that I came to programs of prasad, made with it, spoke to me sweetly. Now I have to go for some success. Right now. I will really experience that. And that got imprinted in our mind, how somebody dealt with us very warmly. So we have to, therefore, warmth and accessibility open hearts for transformation. I'll give you a simple example. One boy was going to Bombay and he happened to be a Prerana. I told him that, hey, anyway, you're going for work in Bombay, go to that Prerana for attend and come. So it seems he was a little hungry, he went to the kitchen side, These fellows Prerana did not know to be there. The big patera they were bringing out for the chatan. This was standing in the middle of the door. They told, hey, Haja! And then they go. So, immediately he left the temple, he was brimming with tears. He wrote a 2-page mail to his you told me to go well. The job of the and I told him, I think there are good people. You would probably know the message. And what you know said. There was no bad intention in the speech and all. I tried to make up and I couldn't make up. 6 months later, he said, okay, now I want to go to the practice. 6 months later, again, now we are going to Bombay. This time I told him, now you go this time. No, but I told you. I said, no. This time I'm going to morning after 1 o'clock. So, exactly lying, like, I told my word to the whole incident. He came up, gave us some, big cargo of it, observed them. Where's the last shot? But I didn't know it in that. Can I return Raju? What kind of opponent technique? So, Raj means it's a king is made, and that's the king. After the boy wrote it, this time he wrote a 4-page. See, ultimately, we see people glorifying Islam. They have one person who they had a good experience. If they are criticizing Islam, they have one person who they had one person they make whole Islam bad. Whole Islam. So let us read that one person who gives. So if you want whole ISKCON world to be glorified, you have to be that 1% only. We will later be warm, be kind. Another thing, people go to Sadhguru, people go to Sri Sri, Ravi Shankar, people go to Brahma Kumaris, they can't talk about that. And sometimes people ask, Swamiji, you told a very good point. I regularly hear Sadhguru, he also says the same thing. Sadhguru also says the cow should be, the cow should not be. Thank you, you know. Now, I was learning the same thing from this. Then we hear it, oh, this was watching Sadhguru. Let it be. Just note it in your mind. Keep it with you. The spark plug should be ignited at the right for the combustion to take place and the piston to move, right now. If the spark plug is prematurely ignited, then it's not very problem. Action needs the right time very important and important. The right direction is that which will bring about the senior path. So that's why many times we make a mistake. You may be hastily delivering a direction at a time when a person is not very therefore, we have to be careful, warm, accessibility. So this is also, it should be friendly and relatable. Not aloof means what? Like you do the program. After you put the prasad, everybody will take it. Now when there was one preacher I heard, this preacher will put the prasad and then we'll go to put everyone sitting and to pour balance rounds. And boys are eating prasad silently, like a Shmashan silent. Nobody will talk and we will ask them to do it. During prasadam is the timing when we can exchange what's your name, where you come from, how did you type the program, what you will take your point. So these are the things when you talk, you come to understand that part. When you open up the heart. Prasadam is a very important time. And also if you are chanting 4 rounds in the night, why do you wonder, even if you had 4 rounds of the talk and send them off, and then you close the door of the you should not dedicate. I don't say you hide it from them. The point is, you try to finish them on. You give them 4 hours there. Give them a good experience. Keep the talks short. And quickly finish the prasad, send them off, and then you sit inside. So, be warm and accessible to them. Don't be inaccessible. Some people, you make them a phone call, the WhatsApp, they will never reply. Send them a message, no reply. It's like putting a stone in a well. That's all. No reply. I used to call. And 2 months are over, I sent a mail to you. What happened? That's why I got it for you. I didn't know I had to play. At least one time. I didn't answer to you. Then you read or not. I got read to the spam. You are only like spam. One day. Some people are like that. Bad. So, preacher cannot be like that. Like if I get 1 call from a boy, I will make 20 calls. Why? Because we need them. That's what they will come. Relative doesn't come. And then this one, next one.
Practice before you preach. Daily sadhana must reflect in your outreach. Inner discipline creates outer magnetism. A preacher must chant.
Inner discipline creates outer magnetism. Actually, I have seen this, those people who are strict in the morning program, they are damned in the day. But the morning is like propeller. Propeller, aeroplane. First, the aeroplane starting one place only. After that, it will go up. Because the propeller, there is a principle called lift and drag. Drag is the running the runway, and the lift is the what? It's called the buoyancy and rotation. That is again in the hydraulics machinery which I have now. But propelling depends on how much you have already propelled before. The morning program is like this. Will be a little cycle, sitting and standing, and that time, you have the morning program, any of you mind standing good and do. 40 rounds are remaining, only 2 rounds are over. Sometimes that happens in Sunday game, the room. Sometimes what complete everything. 5:30 Mangala to the end, no? I would sit and stand. Go to the room. Which topic you want me to speak? And I will say, one word, This is good for us, but what about that first? And I will show that, then you go there, then you look at the clock, 40 minutes over. 6:10, now come back to 10. I will stand. Tomorrow you have chose the word, tomorrow you have delete the word and say, and I will do the city time. 40 minutes people say, oh, I don't think you can solve it. I believe. Because if I don't go, many of them will say, you are also sitting back. 40 minutes, so what I will do, and then Maran giving class till 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock when I get up, when I run to the ashram, when you do the people running the end. Don't even know. 2 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay. Too much time here. Something goes and finish my notes. And then see, I got to finish the part of the after that, you calculate this time, to close the door. Why we have to finish it? Because we don't complete the rounds. Night is very. So, therefore, the inner the morning program is good, somehow or other is good. You know. Then the daytime dynamism is going to be great. But morning program is weak. You know, we start off in chanting, half an hour before we do rounds. Against it's sleeping, not chanting, we can't sleep. Yeah.
A teacher must chant 16 rounds, follow principles, and rise early. Without sadhana, his words carry no weight. Srila Prabhupada, Letter to Satsuri, Jan 1974.
And you know, this is a purpose to get the unpleasant thing to get. You know, the chant early morning, get the Bhagavatam there, get not only enthusiasm, we could see some personal emanating from you. That's what just actually affects the people. When we go to some place and we preach, they speak to people, they immediately say, oh yeah, I chant 4 rounds. But I'm not from 1 to 4 rounds I chant. When they will do that, when they are influenced, right? The influence, we have to get Krishna shelter and then give them Krishna shelter. If I don't get shelter, what shelter can I give them? No? Yeah, go ahead.
Outreach becomes dry or hypocritical when sadhana is neglected.
This is a very funny thing. See, sometimes we strongly tell a person something, and we ourselves may not do it. For example, one teacher was given the topic, near boys and please speak about the importance of chanting in the morning. He had to go, but night he is already having 8 rounds under. In his big guy is showing 8 rounds. They were giving class, how important to finish the chanting in the morning. One boy asked, any questions? Only 8 rounds need to be enough. 8 rounds. You all probably the stop chat. Not going to do now. So people laugh at it right now. So between preaching and practice, that's a dynamic tension between preaching and behavior. Sorry? This is a chance for all mentors. Because, like when I became president in Pune in 1997, I have to do congregation preaching, youth preaching, and I'm temple president. I have to manage the temple also. And I have to do my morning sadhana. Like preparing books, like doing books for yourself and other books. So it was so tight, it took it very, very challenging. Sleeping late night, getting up early in the morning. Over a period of time, I maintained a more balance. So we have to be very careful in sleeping up. Actually, Sattva Guna means it starts not getting up early in the morning. It starts when Sattva Guna means those sleep early in the morning, get up early in the morning. Sleep early, 9:30, take us.
Preaching through culture, cleanliness, hospitality, Vaishnav behavior. Culture speaks louder than words. Clean temple, respectful speech, joyful hearts. Our preaching is not just by speaking, but by how we live. Our tilak, dress, smile, and hospitality. Srila Prabhupada Morning Walk, 1976. Behavior, hospitality, dress, prasadam, all communicate Krishna consciousness.
So many devotees across the globe, they say, many devotees who practice Krishna consciousness very sincerely, seriously, their nature becomes like a child. Prabhupada was, 20 plus, but his behavior was like a little child. Is it not true? So, why were American versions Prabhupada. Those days they had the slogan, never trust anyone beyond 30. But what is Prabhupada? Why they trusted him? Why they were mad after him? Janik Mataji snatched Prabhupada ticket and said, Swamiji, now you are granting this. Let us see how you will leave us and go to India. They say Prabhupada laughing, you have seen that picture? So how much they were attached to Prabhupada? Because Prabhupada, everything he did was exemplary. Then,
Personal transformation is the most powerful tool for collective transformation. Changed lives are best advertisement for Krishna consciousness. Your behavior will impress more than your words. Be a shining example. Srila Prabhupada, letter to Bhavanand, March 1972. When people see joy, peace, and purpose in us, they naturally inquire.
how you are peaceful, how you are so focused. You want to get what you have. That's the time you get peaceful. Then they take you very seriously. Otherwise, they don't take you. So, how we talk to people, for example, many times we meet the relatives of the people. But you become very, very important. Recently, one days, when Brahmachari's mother had come. Asked the mother, Mataji, is your son taking care of people? And I told him in front of mother, see, the parents are the same city. So, but his mother is around, she's like a widow. The father is passed away. So the son is living and so I asked her, what is your health issue? I just spoke to that mother for about 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Then I tell you what is so he was telling that she comes from a very simple Protestant family. And somebody, probably paid some attention to the 2-3 minutes made a big impact. He was telling the mother was just saying 2 rounds. She said, from that day, she said, that's, Carlin said, 2-minute interaction. Why I was telling you this? As it says here, when we are dealing with people, there's one word before that, in your respect for that. You have to deal with people because one observation you will make is Srila Prabhupada and also Hindu Master Prabhupada. When that very actually say the right thing. It's not that they're giving a lot of time for people. Anytime they give a little time only, but the right thing at the right time. It has a profound effect. So later on I thought that what did I do? I didn't do anything. It was a small interaction, it was a family interaction. And later on the Brahmachari told me, after you told me, I became more. I was actually neglectful. That is why she appears in my life. And so in Pune we have a Brahmachari branch class. What department? There are 50 Brahmachari branches in India. They have daily class, 3 times a day they get prasad free and things like that. So one thing is you will see that the 5 classes of people, if you take care, the society will be a happy society. Who are they? Old people, children, and house. If you take care of these 5, the society will be happy. But these 5 need that attention. As a preacher, for example, these boys, if you make them think that the balance and demons, you give a jackpot most by solution to them. You know what jackpot knows the solution? You open the door, a screen loaded, the hand comes and like that will not work. So that is, I think there are some preachers who give such a solution. Then parents become angry both with the boy also and with the preacher also. So we should always teach the children to be affectionate parents. But at the same time, how to be detached and such a way that the Krishna consciousness is not get part. I tell him to say yes, but how we deal with such a matter? Right? His affection for her reduced by taking sannyas. Because Master Bhakta, the Ramani. And you all got it very nice. Yeah, I thought positive, but awkward and interesting. This is one drama. Right now, how we deal with Yogavas, newcomers come, because they have one devotee needs, tirelessly, and how other devotee in a sensitive manner, many people. Like newcomers coming and saying, they are asking, are you coming first time? No, I come so I come regularly. When do you come? Every Janmashtami I come. Immediately we are laughing. Can you laugh at that? Now we can laugh. Better we start. Yeah. Oh, you come every Janmashtami. That's wonderful. Very nice. How many can say that? You have to say. Thank you. That means you're coming on Krishna's birthday. That's why you are blessed to come regularly. Every Janmashtami. Now please give me a number. So I can invite you for special events. I can take. So, we say, oh, the Janmashtami will you come? That's all. Once in a year you come. So the way you, like that you say, that's enough. So you can do drama like that. Sure. How to deal with newcomers and how not to deal. And rest speech and etiquette. Discuss how grooming, intellect, and speech tone impact perception. Like that. Like, if you had a meeting with that, then people will also want to learn from you how to write. You see that? You go for the program before you give a class, look at your face, whether you're writing a proper dialect, and then you go with the proper dialect. Any person will say, well, okay, but sometimes we don't care for the dialect you're playing, they will also think there's no need for. Selma would always ask you to that. And similarly, what schemes of various reasons, what makes some magnet? Some magnet, others are doing. Like audit our own habits. That's my lifestyle. Invite seekers or confuse seekers. Practice welcoming newcomers with warmth and genuineness. Simplicity and integrity are louder than 1,000 lectures. What you can read it?
In surroundings, warm words and authentic behavior equals Krishna's culture naturally. Outreach is not a technique, it is an extension of how we live Krishna consciousness. When people feel loved, respected, and inspired by your presence, preaching becomes effortless. Personal practice, not packaging, makes Krishna consciousness magnetic.
See, sometimes we can privately think in our own heart about how we lack some of the very important qualities a preacher should have. For example, he says, when people feel loved, respected, and inspired by our presence, preaching becomes effortless. And preaching becomes difficult when we cannot express love, when we cannot offer respect, and when we cannot inspire others, but we cannot force others. Opposite of this, three, think about it. Some people have an absolute flowing love, but are with the people. They don't feel that effort now because it's not yet evolved. It's work in progress. Similarly, we are able to respect people who lack some quality. Prabhupada would respect even hippies. Allah Thakur would respect even prostitute. He saw prostitute as a potential. Prabhupada saw hippies as but we get very positive, still we have that much respect. So therefore, we have to learn this love, respect, and also inspiring others by our presence. Which means one of the things that easily can do these three things is non-qualified, which is a very difficult thing. Because false are then this one can't avoid seeing false. Only because that's a very big topic, which I can't talk now. But one can find out ways and means to polish a person gradually without instructing for every small thing by micromanagement. Then that affection develops. That is one reason why many Maharajas are most loved because Maharajas don't stay in one place. Correct? And they rarely come. So our love for those whom we rarely meet is the biggest happiness. And people whom we regularly meet, who regularly give you feedback, direction, they are actually look at them, very good and we are told that you have to show it. That's a challenge. But it's not impossible. We can at least start having it. Okay, Lakshmi is regularly touching Narayana, Rakesh is that. She doesn't leave the road to become Narayana. How is it that she never got word with Narayana? I tell you have to calculate quality. People who are in regular touch with us will be Pandavas. How everything is little bit. Not little bit, too much. People who are very close touch. Think about anybody who is very fond of you, who is very close to you. There are people, but they will be very few. Because those who know your personality, your style of being, everything, they feel to know. Yeah. Last point. Personal practice.
Personal practice, not packaging, make Krishna consciousness matter.
Uh, Personal practices makes it matter, not just practice. Now you all can take a break. For 2 minutes, I take myself, I'll give money, sorry, thing. Now it is 5 points. One more good you can take. It's all right for you? Correct.
How did you install? With help of a devotee? No, it was there before only, yeah? No, no. It was there.